listening. Okay, so we'll be coming back to have a discussion about that event that's taking place there, and of course as we head to the elections. It's a very interesting conversation we'll be having, but for now I want to also bring in Gilbert, a caller from Nairobi. Thank you so much, Gilbert. So what is your contribution this morning? Gilbert, if you can hear me.
Hello.
Yes. Go ahead, Gilbert.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am sorry to say this, but I think we are losing focus. Right now, this year is ending on a note, since we are having a doctor strike happening today. It started 3 weeks ago, and it's continuing. My problem is that from the president to the leaders we have to our media, we are focusing on politics, yet we have a matter of issue which we should tackle, issues which we should project so that it can be tackled. I think we are losing focus. I think that's the discussion we should be having right now, so that we can find a way in which we can tackle this mess. You know, I can give myself as an example. I need an urgent surgery, but I know I cannot go to an hospital because I know if I go, then I may not get the services that I need. So I'm forced to remain at home. I'm losing weight each and every day, and I don't know. It's like I'm going to die. Yet this country, the president is just assuming everything. He's assuming lives of Kenyans. So what should we do? Please, what should we do? Their lives are being lost. This doctor strike should just come to an end in one way or another. And coming on the issue of corruption, you know, corruption has eaten into our bones, and I don't know what you're going to do about it. It's not an issue of the opposition has done this, the government has done this, so that two wrongs make a right. No, that's not the case. If the government has done it wrong, then it should. The opposition has done it wrong, then the government should go up. The EACC should go to the opposition and clean up the mess. It's not saying that, the opposition has done this and the government has done this, so that makes it like the cancel out.
All right,
if we work that way, I don't think we can benefit Kenya. But please, we should project the issue of doctor strike in a manner that it requires. Thank you, Betty.
All right, thank you so much, Gilbert, for your contribution. Much appreciated, and Happy New Year. All right, so we come back to our discussion. And like I mentioned, corruption seems to be what is really paining very many Kenyans, many hardworking Kenyans here in the country. And this year, things seem to have just gone from bad to worse in regards to corruption. And something that Gilbert says, is the country, are we losing focus on like very, very serious issues, Ndegwa?
I think there are so many issues that are ailing Kenyans, such that we do not know which one to prioritize that, more than the other. Because if you look at the doctor strike, which is a very unfortunate thing, it is still intertwined in the issue of corruption and the failure to offer leadership. So I believe we may not be able to separate the wheat from the chaff at the moment as to what is more priority than the other. Of course, health is quite an issue and a very sensitive issue. But who is going to lead to have this, to broker maybe this deal? The government seems to have taken a back seat. And I'm not blaming the government. I'm speaking on behalf of Njiru. It seems to have taken a back seat. They'll go on strike, watachoka, watarudi.
Okay.
Because that has been the threat of the day.
Because it's been a month now.
It has been a month now. But at the end of the day, neither the president nor the deputy president is addressing this issue.
Okay.
I remember during the times of Moi, President Moi would personally address issues of teacher strike personally. And the nation would get some hope. At least the president is trying to tackle this issue.
Okay.
What has happened to President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto, who schooled from that academy?
And that is the question that Alfayo also asked. And let's listen to a bite that we have of Senator Murkomen speaking about the NYS.
Do not know whether one Waiguru is guilty. But the facts that have been presented on the table is enough for Anne Waiguru to stand trial and be charged in a court of law. If she is not going to be charged for the corruption of NYS, we could as well legalize corruption in this country. Kama Anne Waiguru atapelekwa kotini kwa maswali ya NYS, afadhali jameni tubadilishe sheria ikuwe wizi ni legal. So that kila mtu aibe yake kidogo kidogo.
Take note of your opening remarks, and it is on the basis of those remarks that I would also request that I be allowed to go through this presentation. I will submit a copy to this honorable committee.
Of people or companies that are mentioned by NY Guru, in spite of the fact that we are handling other clients. For example, you remember last week, in the transactions that we printed the ones that we paid 15 million, but because you print in a bank a long transaction, there was a payment to Honorable Kindiki. We're already publishing that Kindiki was paid NYS money. Can you imagine what will happen to all our clients since 2013 if we were to provide the clients we deal with as a law firm? And second, I have challenged the committee, Mr. Gumbo, and your committee members, to give confidence to the people of Kenya that you are not using the privileged position as members of parliament to either raise Christmas gifts or to raise campaign money. Publish all your accounts for all committee members. Publish the accounts for your farms and the farms of your associates. Then we as Kenyans will say, Mr. Gumbo and his team are so pursuant of the truth, they have even given us the accounts and it's so clear that they have never received any money from anybody.
All right, so interesting sound bites there by Kenyan leaders in regards to corruption. And we'll be coming back to hear what my panel has to say. But I understand that we have Wahome joining us by way of phone from Naivasha. Wahome, thank you so much for joining us. Talk to us. What is your contribution in regards to all these issues we're talking about this morning?
Okay, thank you very much, Betty. And I would like to contribute about corruption. I come from Naivasha and I'm a Jubilee supporter. But the real problem we are having is that we don't support corruption at all, but we don't have alternative government because I don't believe court can fight the corruption. So I would wish if we can get another alternative government, we would support it. But I don't think the court are willing to help fight corruption deep inside their heart. Because I believe they are just fighting the government for their own good. Right. That is what I can say.
All right. Thank you so much, Wahome, for your contribution. He's raised such an important issue. Do we have an alternative? You know, he says that the opposition as it is no better. Maybe they don't have the solutions. We don't seem to be having another option. Betty,
I think what he's talking about here is that the kind of system of government we have does not give us an official opposition. That's why we have a minority and we have a majority. So you find that even in these committees where it is composed of minority and majority. So if it is a loot to be shared, they share both sides. Okay. So we cannot say one side enjoyed and the other side did not enjoy. Everybody. So now this is where we find ourselves in a very difficult situation where somebody cannot say, I was not part and parcel of it. Because if any committee makes a wrong mistake, then it is the entire committee members which transversed both sides. So I think maybe if we had maybe a hybrid government that Raila was talking about, where we have the parliamentary system maybe with mixed with a pure presidential, or we just had the previous parliamentary system where we had the opposition out and the government in, then it becomes very easy to now point fingers and say, you people have done this, have done this.
But everybody's now meshed up together.
Everybody is in. Even the opposition should not say they're not in government. They're in government. That's why they even drive GK vehicles, the the leaders in the House, because they're part and parcel of this government. And that's why you see even the suckers when you're going about the issue of NYS and everything, you find even the opposition is named in it, because when this thing started, all of them were encompassed in this.
Yes.
And this is, under this 11th parliament, it's very sad that this is the first time we are finding MPs even fighting over loot. Remember, the Public Accounts Committee had to be reconstituted after it became apparent that the members were sharing loot from both sides, and they were being given to share both sides of the political divide. So now if we have MPs who are sharing, and if you've just listened to what the Elgeyo Marakwet MP was saying, he's daring the members to publish their bank's account. Just
because
tells you, we eat behind the scenes. Yes,
we eat together. We know.
This is how it's done. So the public
Same
should know.
sentiments are different.
I really admire what Roselyn has said. She's hit the problem right on the head. You know, is it hit the nail on the head? Yes. So she's very accurate. You have a situation where you have a minority opposition in the National Assembly and in the Senate, but then they have 25 county governors. Yes. You know. And so okay, and you know, let's go back to 2013. Here you have Jubilee and their political platform. They also use the ICC a lot during that period, and they had their own manifesto, of which now we have something to challenge them on. You said A, B, C, D about healthcare. We'll come to that, and now where are we? So. And then you had the opposition that also created its own coalition, and their manifesto was based on Raila Odinga. Okay. So now when you have individual, basically your national politics is based on individuals, and then that trickles down to the county level. No one has anything to hold you accountable to.
All right.
And that's the problem.
Yeah, I think I agree with them entirely that we have concentrated in building the philosophy of individualism as opposed to putting into place a perfect political system that can respond to the people's wishes and aspirations. And that's where we are, because today you have heard that caller from Naivasha. I would exactly tell why he supports Jubilee. If you go to Kirinyaga County, where I come from, it's completely a Jubilee stronghold. And being a Jubilee stronghold, and of course knowing that Anne Waiguru is also vying for governorship in that region, we had a discourse sometimes back, and I listened to some very interesting arguments about whether Waiguru or not, she's capable of being elected into becoming a governor, or Governor Ndadi, who is accused of having embezzled 3.4 billion, is capable of being elected as a governor. You know what the people told me? They said, hawa watu hawajashikwa, hawajapelekwa kotini.
So they're clean.
We even elected people who had issues with the ICC. Huyu ni kuiba tu.
Wow.
You see, huyu ni kuiba tu is just being accused of stealing. So why should we not vote her?
Wow.
You know why? We do not have political responsibility within us. Even we ourselves as Kenyans, we never do any self-introspection of the kind of the government that you want to have. And that's why I agree with him. We may not be having an alternative government because of the reasons that Roselyn has indicated. Because we don't have an official position in parliament. But the question is, can the people themselves be able to put in place a government that can respond to their wishes?
But let me ask you, Ndegwa, maybe Kenyans are just handicapped because there's no other option. Actually the race as it is right now is that, it's a two-horse race.
It's not a two-horse race because we have Philip Murgo. He's vying for presidency. We have the senator from Kisii. He's vying for presidency.
Ekuru Okot.
We have Wakili Ekuru Okot. He's running for presidency. Why are we saying that we are short of people?
But do we know who these people are?
What we are short of individual people. Because when you talk about politics in Kenya, you see the Kenyatta family and the Odinga family. That is what we are short of.
And that's why we are handicapped, aren't we?
Okay, let me explain something that Ndegwa has raised that's quite critical here. Yeah, the perception, and this is propaganda, which, you know what, I'm sorry to say this now, a little bit of slamming the media. You run with the propaganda that is churned out from the political parties. It serves the interests of the political parties to have an incumbent versus a main principal leader of opposition, Raila Odinga. It does not serve the interests of the public to highlight Philip Murgor or what's his name, Kennedy Mongare and Ekuru. It does not serve the interests of the public when you don't highlight those other candidates. You are simply going along with the status quo.
Okay.
In the way you're covering the political arena. And so he's right. There are other people, but then here's a problem. We have voter blocks.
Yeah.
And that's why these people are in coalitions.
Isn't that the truth about our politics?
Exactly.
It is tribal.
Yeah. It's
so
tribal.
How would Ekuru stand?
How would Murgor make it? That's the thing.
So we go back to being handicapped.
Exactly.
And that brings us to the conclusion, probably, that the Jubilee government was founded on a fallacy and fallacious principle of uniting Kenyans.
Uniting Kenyans.
And even the Jubilee Party that we now being proud of has been founded on the principle of uniting Kenyans. But I've never seen any person, either Deputy President Ruto or his cadres, preaching Jubilee in Kibera. I have never seen them. So how are they unifying Kenyans?
So it is just convenient.
Where are they not in where
politics of convenience
actually is today?
Okay. So let's speak to Pascal, joining us from Siaya. Pascal, thank you so much for speaking to us. What is your contribution?
Thank you, Betty, and thank you for the wonderful panel. Now, my position is this, that as much as corruption is part of our nature in a way, what is important is to place important institutions in place where these institutions will definitely go out and address the areas, the corruption, which each and every one of us has a bit of it. Look at what has happened in the counties. We see all the counties have had a problem or so. But instead of addressing the specific problems, you see, corruption has been taken as an entertainment, as it were, because it comes over and it is talked over, and as soon as it is talked over, people forget it. Whereas this thing is hurting people so deeply. A lady walks out with bags, guineas of money, and at the end of the day, you don't hear where it has ended.
Okay.
But what we see in day to day, we see doctors cannot be paid. We see people suffering, and today we have failed, harvest. We have failed our 2 seasons. People have not had harvest. So we realize that sooner than later, we are going to have, in famine, and people who are going to suffer are the common people. So my solution to this problem is that, one, we should be able to address these things seriously and inject into these institutions what I would call Matiang'i spirit. And there are so many Kenyans like Matiang'i, by the way. It is only the will, the good will to go out and get them a chance. Okay. As long as corruption is, the same people are brought back, then these other people like Matiang'i will never have a chance. Okay. Let's have the spirit of Matiang'i in these institutions, and I think we shall go forward and we shall succeed. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Pascal, for your insights. All right. Before we listen to our panel, Margaret from Bondo, how are you this morning, and what is your contribution?
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And I would really like to say that 2015 has really been an year of a lot of issues. And my first disappointment is when in Parliament there was the issue of the 2/3 gender bill. I was so much disappointed, and as a woman, I thought a change would start from there with the parliamentarian as legislators, but I was so much disappointed and frustrated. And when it comes to issue of corruption, I think it's now high time for the government to see a way forward on how they can tackle to corruption, because everything has been on the limelight. They've shown the fine, and one of the issue of Guru. There's no need to say there's no corruption, and as leaders, mainly our president, he should really concentrate on that and just instead of just hearing and ignoring. And another thing is, as an opposition, I think the opposition leader, he's doing his work as a leader, and he has to say when something is wrong. And for a government, as a mature leader, the president, he should not be exchanging words. Instead, if there's a mistake or a problem somewhere, he should tackle it and see a way forward. And another issue that I'm really disappointed on is when appointments are being done with the president, there's this issue of the 5% of the people with disability. When it comes to appointments, it has really been ignored as a nation. And with me, I will speak strongly on it. I'm a representative for people with disability in the county of Siaya. And as a legislature, if we are trying hard to make sure that representation is there, and the national government is not doing it, it's really a letdown. Thank you very much for giving me this chance.
Thank you so much, Margaret, and Happy New Year to you, and thank you for your contribution. So it seems that seemingly maybe our problems will be sorted out by an election whereby we put all these names, including the 3 others, quote unquote, you know, and let Kenyans choose the best person for the job. So looking forward into 2017 as we wrap up our conversation, what is it that, you know, from your point of view, Betty, you'd like Kenyans to always keep in mind? Because it seems like the power is with the people.
First of all, I'd like to comment on just this most recent caller. Margaret's comments are exceptional. She's really articulated finally what the issues, the critical issues are in the country, and really appreciate her feedback. I'll say this for Kenyans. You may feel helpless, but you are not. Okay, and as I've mentioned much earlier, the first step is to actually become extremely involved, even if it's just at the MCA level. Become involved. Ndegwa mentioned the issue about civic education, and I said, you know, when he was talking, I was thinking, you know what, we cannot have it both ways. We cannot at one point say, we need to get angry enough and at the same time wait to be educated. No, we have to go out there, we have to involve ourselves, and we have to go out there and challenge our leaders. If you don't know your MCA and you're living in this country, there's something wrong. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. I'm letting you know. You need to find out who's your MCA. You need to find out what is his role. Just him. Yeah, and you need to find out, where can I find this guy on most days? How can I articulate my issues to him? How can I make him look at a bill? One of the issues, I come from Kiambu County, okay? So one of the issues that has been raised is issues of empowering women, especially what we call the mama mbogas, and organizing them into a circle of their own. Okay, and if you don't know how to be able to articulate those issues amongst yourselves, you know, go get the information, come back, organize yourselves, go to your MCA. You will make a difference. And you keep trying every single day. You keep trying.
And you start with your MCA.
Exactly, that guy.
I should know who mine is.
That lady.
Maybe just before I give my wrap up, I think when we talk about the issue of health, so many people have raised the issue of health. But I think as a government, maybe our approach was wrong. Because if you look at the Constitution, it talks about the devolved functions being asymmetrical and not symmetrical. Just because of the pressure that the government got from governors, they decided to devolve all functions without wedging the capability of each county. Now, because of this, the health function was devolved 90%, to the extent that the national government only remained with policy and the Kenyatta National Hospital, Moi Referral, Madara, and the Spinal Cord. Those are just 4 hospitals. Now, when it comes to allocation of funds, you find that Ministry of Health gets over 50-something billion. While the counties, especially the 11 referrals, those are the level 5 hospitals, do not get anything.
All right,
so now
Roselyn.
this is why when our doctors are in the streets,
Yeah.
they are there because even the county governments where they don't have that money.
Okay.
So can we retrace and rewrite the wrong that we did by either having these doctors at the national level to sort out the mess that we have, then now the county governments can take them when they have that capacity to handle the personnel,
Okay.
at the same time put the infrastructure.
Okay,
Now
very fast. We've run out of
yes,
time.
now coming to 2017, I think our leaders, I know within 6 months they will be going back to the electorate to seek elections. This is a time that they should decide issues by conscience and not political affiliations, because those are the questions that their people who sent them to parliament will ask them.
Okay. Ndegwa.
Thank you very much, Betty,
Very
and the panel.
briefly, please.
I think Kenyans have been presented with a rare opportunity of rejuvenating the system of governance.
Okay.
And as they do so, they should not elect any person who has been accused of having embezzled even a single coin from either their county or from the national government. And therefore, they should vote with a lot of consciousness. And as I sum up, maybe we'd wish Kenyans a happy new year, a prosperous 2017, and be a prosperous year of serious and concrete decision making.
All right.
Yes.
That's a nice way to wrap up. Thank you so much, gentlemen and ladies. That's Ndegwa Njiru, who is an advocate. We had so much to talk about. We didn't talk about the judiciary.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the judiciary
next time. And Roselyn Obala, she is my colleague here at the Standard Group. And Betty Waitherero, who's a human rights activist. Thank you so much for your time this morning. All right. So we've come to the end of this special coverage of, the year that was 2016. You've heard from Kenyans what their year was like, what their expectations are. Keep your tweets coming. I've seen quite a number of them. And I'll be coming back in a few minutes to give you the latest news updates. So don't go away. Keep it right here on KTN.